Hi, this is Sweet June. How's everybody doing? Hoping everybody's having a blessed new has gonna it's gonna have a blessed new year this year. Thanking God that I'm blessed to make it into a new year. Um, Everybody's talking about on YouTube. Um, Mariah Carey's. I guess apparently she performed on the. I got watched bits and pieces of that last night. The Rock and Eve show, um, the Dick Clark Rock and Eve show thing. I watched bits and pieces, but I think I winded up falling asleep or whatever, and I missed that her performance. But I caught it on YouTube, and she's she there was some technical. I think there was some technical errors, and and she wasn't singing her song. She's kind of lip syncing, and she's kind of pacing back and forth on the stage, and it, to say the least, it was a hot mess. Um, but I'm not on here to talk about her. I noticed how there's a lot of videos on YouTube and everybody's talking about, and I'm reading the blogs and everybody's talking about how she needs to retire, she needs to give it up, she's washed up, and I'm just reading all the different statements that people are making just because this lady made a mistake. Now, I like Mariah Carey. I think she's a great singer. Um, I love a lot of her music, and she's a great singer. Excuse me. But I just noticed how people are kind of just coming down really, really hard on her. People are coming down so hard on her, saying that she needs to retire and she's washed up, and she doesn't have as much talent as she used to, and just simply because she made this mistake. And my thought kind of marinated on it a little bit, and I thought, they being too hard. People are being too hard on her. Entertainers. It's really interesting how people expect for entertainers to be perfect. Entertainers have a lot of pressure on them. They have a lot of pressure. It's the entertainment business. It really is no business like show business. The entertainment business is high stressful in a high pressure field. It must be because a lot of these entertainers are dying. A lot of singers are dying, and they're dying at young ages. So I'm thinking, it must be the entertainment business must be really stressful. And you're hearing a lot about a lot of entertainers being on drugs, and I'm like, the entertainment industry must be really, really stressful, And I know that it's a lot of pressure. I know that it's a lot of pressure. People, they're under a lot of pressure to look good, to perform good, whatever it is that they're doing, singing or acting, to stay relevant. Artists, entertainers are under a tremendous a lot of pressure to begin with, and when you like she's won a lot of awards. She's had top selling albums. Had a lot of success in her past. She's been very successful in her career, and so I think the more successful they get, the more pressure it is on them. I think that's where they have more pressure. And I just think that people are just being too hard. I just think that people are being too hard on her. I don't think it's a loving thing to do, to come on the blogs and she needs to retire and or whatever. And my thought is on that is that when I make a mistake on my job, which is not very often, but I try to make my mistakes as minimal as possible. But when I make a mistake on my job, I don't want people to magnify my mistake 10 times. I don't want my mistake to be magnified. I don't like it when people make a big deal out of my mistake. And sometimes that happens. And when it does happen, I don't like it. Because at the end of the day, I'm a human being and I'm going to make mistakes. Now, I try to make as minimal mistakes as I can. Um, but at the end of the day, I'm a human being, and I'm gonna make mistakes, and I sure don't want somebody blowing my mistakes up. And sometimes people do that when they make mistakes themselves. Um, so I try to think of it in terms of, if you, everybody, most, a lot of people have jobs. If you made a mistake on your job, would you want somebody to tell you, well, you need to go ahead and quit your job? You're washed up. You need to go ahead and quit. Even if it's a big mistake. Would you want somebody to tell you, well, you need to just go ahead and retire? You're washed up. You're done. Or you just need to go ahead and quit. Or worst case scenario, would you want to be fired just because you made a mistake? And that's basically what people are saying about Mariah Carey. She's an entertainer. She's a singer. It's her job. And people are basically saying, because she made this mistake, people are saying that she needs to retire, and she needs to. No, that's her job. She's still a relatively young woman, and no, she doesn't need to retire. She's only in her 40s, and no, she doesn't. She's not washed up. She's still very talented. She's a human being that made a mistake. And it's just like that. People expect for entertainers to be perfect. And entertainers are not perfect. They make mistakes just like everybody else. But people put them on the pedestal and think just because they're an entertainer, they're supposed to be perfect. You wouldn't want people to expect for you to be perfect on your job. I know that when a lot of pressure is put on me to be darn near perfect, I stress out. It's stressful because I can't. If you got unreasonably high expectations of me, well, I'm going to have a difficult time meeting those expectations, especially particularly if you expect for me to never make mistakes. Well, I'm a human being, and I'm going to make some mistakes. So that's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of stress. And it's a tremendous amount of stress being an artist and being in the entertainment industry, and you've already been very successful, and that makes it even more pressure. So I just think everybody being hard on my girl Mariah, and they need to just let up off of her. People were coming down pretty hard on her, and I think that she was having some technical difficulties. She couldn't hear, and I admit the first song that when she sung, I can't think of the name of that song. The first song after she sung the New Year's Eve song, and she sung that one song, the music was playing, but it's like she wasn't singing the song. And I admit I was like, well, Mariah, I know the words to that song. I mean, come on. I mean, you can't sing it. I was like, come on, Mariah, sing it. And so it looked like she was attempting to sing, but she couldn't hear the music. Maybe she couldn't hear the music that go along with the song. And so I don't know. I'm not a singer. I don't go up on stage to sing. We don't really know what it's like to really be up there. And I know that they have an earpiece that they have to wear, and maybe she couldn't hear or something like that. And yeah, I think she was kind of lip syncing. I was a little shocked about that because I didn't think artists did that anymore. But I know that looking at her shows, her reality shows, that she's been on tour, and she has been touring and everything. So maybe her voice is a little wore out. Their vocal cords get wore out. Singers, their vocal cords get wore out. Maybe her vocal cords were a little wore out, or maybe she was trying to rest them, and maybe that's why she decided to do the lip syncing. I'm not making excuses for her, but I'm just thinking that people just need to cut her some slack. People need to cut my girl some slack. I mean, she made a mistake, and it might have not entirely been all her fault. So I just think that if you have a job and you make a mistake, you wouldn't want anybody telling you that you just need to go ahead and quit. You need to go ahead and give it up. You need to retire. And come on, those statements are unnecessary. Just because the lady simply made a mistake. So I don't know. I just thought I'd throw my little 2 cents in about that. A lot of people are talking about that on YouTube, and they blowing it up. And I just say y'all just need to let up off the lady. The lady made a mistake. Might have not entirely been all her fault. Give her a break. Cut her some slack. Anyway, I just think that we put too much pressure on celebrities sometimes, and we expect them to be perfect. There's only one perfect human being that walked the earth, and his name was Jesus Christ. Unless she's Jesus Christ, she ain't gonna be perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're not perfect. We all make mistakes on our job. Now let me know in the comment section you ain't never made a mistake. I want to get your autograph. Okay, more interesting video topics coming up. This is Sweet Jim.